And now we proceed to the awards function. May I request Mr. Nitin Gokhale to please escort Mr. Vappala Balachandran and Mr. Alok Joshi to the stage. May I request Nitin Gokhale to please escort Mr. Balachandran and Mr. Joshi on stage in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, BharatShakti's Lifetime Achievement Award was institutionalized in our 8th edition in 2023. But I think the best person to talk about it and to take the session forward is Mr. Nitin Gokhale himself, and I hand over the session to him.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a slight detour from our knowledge session discussions, but important for me and personally and for my team nevertheless, because we believe that people who have served, those who have served silently and otherwise, and who probably operate in shadows and would probably never tell even their own families what work they do, need to be recognized. And one such person who I not only admire, but who I have benefited from in my 4 decades plus journalism career, also reading his various columns and otherwise, is Mr. Vappala Balachandran, former Special Secretary of the RNAW, 1959 IPS batch, 59 batch of the IPS. He's here, a round of applause for him. He's the recipient of our 3rd Bharat Shakti Lifetime Achievement Award for National Security. And I will not say much because we have a film which will try to encapsulate his life and his work. And then we will present this award. After that, I'll ask him to speak for about 10 to 15 minutes, 15 minutes basically. And with him is one of his old colleagues, a little junior to him, but a former Chief of the RNAW, Mr. Alok Joshi, currently the Chairman of the National Security Advisory Board. A round of applause for him. We've known each other also for over a decade now, and that is why I requested Mr. Joshi to come and do the honors of presenting this Lifetime Achievement Award. But let us first see the film, and then we will carry on the other proceedings. The film, please.
Who work not in the limelight but in the shadows. Bala was one of the officers at one of the perhaps most sensitive layer of governance belongs to those who work not in the limelight but in the shadows. Bala was one of the officers at one of the officers who really and truly commanded respect, and even the affection he commanded, both from those who worked with him and those who knew him, do him the justice which this award today is now, I think, putting into public sphere. Perhaps the most sensitive layer of governance belongs to those who work not in the limelight but in the shadows. Bala was one of the officers, who really and truly commanded respect, and even the affection he commanded, both from those who worked with him and those who knew him, do him the justice which this award today is now, I think, putting into public sphere.
I was born in Burma in 1937. My father was working in the Burmese telegraph department. And then in 1940, we were sent back to India because of the Japanese war, Japanese invasion on Rangoon.
Vappala Balachandran's story began with exile. From the quiet lanes of Ottapalam to the halls of Loyola College in Madras, a disciplined mind took shape, curious, composed, and ready to serve. In 1959, he joined the Indian Police Service. From Nashik to Sangli and Wardha, he learned India at ground level, its farmers, labourers, and restless streets. By 1972, Mumbai called, the city of mills and movements, of strikes and Shiv Sena. Balachandran held the line, where law met politics and order was never ordinary. In 1973, he took charge of Mumbai's special branch, modelled on London's, a place where protection met perception. Through the emergency years, he walked a delicate line, duty on one side, conscience on the other. Then came a turn that would define him.
Mr. Balachandran, in many ways, represents the finest traditions of the R&AW. You know, it's a rare breed of officers who effortlessly made the transition from high-profile police work with all the trappings of power to the relative anonymity, complete anonymity of intelligence work, particularly external intelligence work. So he was a larger-than-life figure, if I may say so, during his years in the R&AW.
Deputation to the Cabinet Secretariat in 1976. 19 quiet years in India's external intelligence service, helping shape the unseen scaffolding of national security. After the Mumbai terror attacks of 26/11, he served on the Pradhan Committee. His finding was simple. Intelligence rarely fails in collection. It fails in connection. Coordination, not competition, saves lives. From Singapore to Oxford to Washington, he spoke of integration. Police, military, intelligence, even media working as one. And he wrote what he lived, a life in shadow, keeping India safe, intelligence over centuries. Over 1,500 columns, each a window into India's evolving security story. Today, in the same Mumbai home he built in the 1970s, an 88-year-old keeps writing, reading, and reminding that national security is a team sport, and anonymity sometimes the highest form of service.
You cannot handle national security issues in an isolated fashion. Awareness has to come that this is a joint effort by everybody. It is not just the responsibility of the Army or the Air Force or the Navy or intelligence agencies or the police. You have to have an integrated response. Integrated response can be achieved only if an effective National Security Council is set up. It's amazing. A 3-minute movie over 66 working years of my life. That is from 1959 when I joined. I never knew this magic behind this movie because I never saw it. And when I asked that I should be shown, they said, no, this is a secret. It will be released only on the same day. You see, for people like me and Mr. Alok Joshi or Kumar Ramnath and others, we live in shadows, you can say that, and anonymity. We are not used to public speaking. We are not used to a prominent leadership role in the gaze of the television cameras. So, getting a recognition like this before an august audience is something unprecedented, and I really thank Nitin for that. I really don't know what I have done. Maybe somebody else would have done the same thing, but he said no. You have to receive the 3rd Lifetime Achievement Award that my organization is giving. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm also grateful to Mr. N.J. Akbar, who unfortunately is not present here, but he lent his voice, he was mainly responsible for, after retirement, when I published nearly, by now about 1,500 columns in Indian and foreign magazines. First, he was the editor of Asian Age. Then he left that and then started a fortnightly called Conferred. The second publication was, or third publication was, Sunday Guardian. The maximum number of articles were published by Mr. M. Akbar. I owe a special, I'm so grateful to him for exposing me to the journalistic world. And coming to Nitin, I had not met him till 2009. I used to watch him giving his very pinpointed, with no exaggeration, the comments on the security situation in the country. It was always a pleasure to watch him and his commentary. The first time we met was in 2009 in Mumbai in a seminar on terrorism, where my friend Ajit Doval was the lead speaker, and I also presented a paper on indigenous support to terrorism. Till then, the entire concentration was on external efforts to whip up terrorism in India. But no thought. In my paper, I said that we have been suffering various forms of terrorism, I would say jihadi terrorism, right from 19th century onwards, if you see the history. We can't forget that. So that is my theme. Then second time I met him was when he was writing a book on the icon of our intelligence, that is Mr. R.N. Kao. I had the privilege of working fairly closely with him. So when he started writing a book on R.N. Kao, he requested me to guide him, and he came out to Mumbai. And we had long discussion. I gave him some of the letters Mr. Kao had written to me. And I also reviewed his book for Outlook. And I may just be permitted to read just a para about his quality of writing. It is not easy to write on the milestones of a spy chief's life when most of it is under shadows. However, Nitin Gokhale is refreshingly different. He modestly cautions the readers that his book is neither history nor a detective thriller or a comprehensive chronicle. Yet his jargon street style captures the essence of Kao's character, his low-profile communication style through understatements, and his successes and reverses. It is commendable that Nitin was able to unmask considerable details of Kao's unpublished life within such a short time. As a person who knew Kao well, I could safely imagine that had he been alive, he would have approved Nitin's factual book without any embellishments. And this is a very long review. I don't want to read the whole thing. Well, as I said earlier, we intelligence people live an anonymous life. The other day, just last month, we lost one of our pioneers in the research and analysis wing, Mr. R. Govindarajan. Mr. R. Govindarajan belonged to the 53 batch of 99, of the 53 batch of the IPS. And he worked for long in the Intelligence Bureau. And then he came over when RAW was started in 1968. When he passed away, his obituaries were published, but all connected to his son, Mr. Raghuram Rajan, our former governor of Reserve Bank. So the concentration was not on the father's achievements, but on the son's achievement. But here I must compliment our Prime Minister. He wrote a very warm letter praising Mr. Govindarajan's services in the intelligence. And this type of understanding by the Prime Minister of a person who retired long ago and passed away in anonymity shows that the present Prime Minister does care for those anonymous security organs that are protecting our country. So let me mention this very, very categorically that the present administration does remember those anonymous soldiers who have protected our security. Nitin asked me to give a brief talk about intelligence, the role of intelligence and national security. I have written a lot about it. In fact, my first book is purely on that. And my fourth book is about the intelligence over centuries. So, but briefly I must say that there is what we know as the so-called intelligence failures are really not so. In 2002, I was requested by, actually 2003, I was requested by an American group called the National Advisory Council on South Asian Affairs, which wanted me to give my opinion on the effectiveness of the new intelligence reforms proposed by the President Bush administration after 9/11. So there I give a talk about what is intelligence failure, how does it occur, and it went into the prime details. That particular lecture was attended by various famous think tanks, representatives in Washington, like Dr. Stephen Cohen, Walter Anderson is well known in India, then Robert Hathaway, Professor Hussein Haqqani, who later became Pakistan ambassador to America, and others. So there I said, how does intelligence, the so-called intelligence, failures occur? I had said that intelligence cycle involves 8 stages. One is a collection. Second is a collation. If you don't collate properly, you will never be able to retrieve it. Third is analysis. Fourth is dissemination. Be disseminated to the consumers. Then the next step is integration. In my interview also I said the same thing. We have to integrate the intelligence from different sources. And that is the job of the National Security Council or intelligence coordinator. Then the other thing is adjudication. Now what is adjudication? When you give intelligence, there are a lot of gaps. And those gaps have to be filled in. So further intelligence has to be collected. That is what we call adjudication. Then it comes to the policy makers, action, and then review. Now, many cases which we think that were intelligence failures, I'll quote only a few examples. One is the Pearl Harbor attack on 7 December 1941. 2 case studies done by 2 universities of the Army's think tanks said that enough indications were available with the then government of the United States that such a surprise attack was coming. But yet there was a failure on the part of the executive organs to take preventive action. The second case that was discussed by me was the 6th October 1973, the first phase of Yom Kippur War. Much before the 2023 attack came, Israel was attacked by the combined forces of Egypt and Syria in what was supposed to be a surprise attack. But actually it was not though. Mossad had the intelligence, had forewarned the army intelligence, but somehow due to some reasons, preventive action was not taken. Third is still more serious. 23rd October 1983, Beirut Marine Barracks attack. There, nearly 400 US Marines died in what was a huge explosion outside the Marine Barracks. And the same day, the suicide bombers went to the French barracks and killed about 50. This is one of the worst intelligence failures in history. But that is also not correct. What happened was that 20 years later, the families of the deceased Marines, they sued the government of the United States. And during that trial, an alert by the technical means, by the NSA, came saying that the Iranian minister had forewarned or other asked the local representative of an Amal militia to do something spectacular. That was not done. That was not sent to the Marines at all. Marines could not take preventive action, and so this death took place. And then it was on that basis that the families of the Marines were given compensation. Then there was another incident on 28 November 2002 in Mombasa. There, a hotel patronized by the visiting Israelis, it was bombed. The Australian intelligence service had that intelligence, and they had alerted their national not to go to Mombasa. But somehow the Israel could not alert their citizens at all. So as a result, some people died. Then the last one, I have in fact various other incidents, but I don't want to waste your time on that. The last was 15th August 2021, the sudden collapse of Ashraf Ghani regime in Afghanistan. There also prior intelligence was available, but it could not be prevented. I would now just just on October 22nd, 2025, Sir David Oman was the intelligence coordinator of UK. And I happen to know him because we both attended an Oxford conference on terrorism. He has written an article about the difficulties that the intelligence services face. For example, he quoted the incident of the bombing of Copenhagen. The article is called "The Making of an Intelligence Failure," explaining latest difficulties in confronting intelligence to the proliferation of social media and artificial intelligence. He quoted the September incident of drones over Copenhagen airport. Now, the policymakers want immediate, and the public also, they want immediate intelligence, or whether was it a Russian responsible? How was the attack mounted? So the complexities of intelligence have increased. Now we keep on saying that with artificial intelligence, intelligence is made easy. He says no. And that is because it again goes into the expectations of the consumers, expectations of the government have risen. If artificial intelligence can do, why can't you give the accurate intelligence? He argues on this, saying that this is not possible. It's being made very difficult. So in future, you will see, Nitin, that even with artificial intelligence, you will find it very difficult to give pinpoint intelligence and satisfy this. The expectations have increased. So, but unless we work very hard, we will not be. See, what he is now saying, to be most useful, this analysis should not present the most likely course of events. I am talking about future intelligence, but also flag up strategic notice of less likely but potentially more serious long-term developments. So the expectation from intelligence services to guard the national security has risen. So the intelligence agencies have to sort of satisfy them. Now what he says is that even when governments do not have the power to prevent anticipated threats materializing, they may be able to take mitigating action to try to reduce its impact. If that is done, that at least will go a long way. But finally, he also adds that the MI5 was able to, during the last 1 year, they say that there have been 31 terrorist plots were foiled. And that's a brilliant record. Now, unfortunately, in India, the intelligence services do not come out openly and advertise their achievements. But the government knows. So I'm sure our intelligence services also must have been responsible for prevention of various plots. So I conclude this, and once again, Nitin, I'm not much concerned about whether I'm given any honor by government. In my view, government honors are without any heart. Now, in this case, it has come from his heart, the heart of a good man. I don't know whether I deserve it. I really do not know. Anyway, thank you very much for all the kindness. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insightful words, Mr. Balachandran. And now we are taking a photograph, Nitin Gokhale, Mr. Balachandran, and Mr. Alok Joshi. Thank you so much, gentlemen.